It was said that we as blacks could not learn to fly, and if you did learn to fly, you didn't have the courage to fight in combat.
My mom always said that I was one of those daring kind of sons, and I would take chances.
The F-16 is the hottest airplane. I've accomplished something that only about 8,000 or 10,000 people in the world that have done, and that's to fly that airplane. That's what makes me the man.
I just want them to see me, to see my face, these wings. They'll know that he could do it, I can do it too.
Although today African American men and women are a force to be reckoned with in the air and even in space, there was a time when discrimination and racism grounded any dreams of flying. It would take the blood, sweat, and tears of pioneers like the Tuskegee Airmen to make those dreams a reality. But when a young William Crockett first joined up with the fledgling unit, he had no idea he would become a mentor, a hero, and a legacy.
I was an A student in math, but I dropped out of junior college being the best math student because I was unable to pay $6 per month tuition. And they placed a poster up in the audit room and said, be a pilot, bombardier, navigator, and earn $245 per month. That got my attention.
While Crockett had stumbled upon his destiny and would climb the ranks from enlisted man to lieutenant colonel, he and the rest of the Tuskegee Airmen faced seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Although as escorts during World War II, they never lost a bomber, it would still take 5 years to be allowed into integrated units. But even while fighting, the Tuskegee Airmen had fewer rights than a prisoner of war.
The German prisoners could still go to the base theater and sit anywhere they want, and blacks were still being roped off. And they could go to the officers' club, and I was denied the privilege of going to the officers' club. Somebody said, well, why did you stay in? Well, I looked outside and didn't see blacks doing much better than I was doing. I felt like what I was doing was important, and I felt like if you did a good job long enough, eventually the system would have to change.
And the system eventually did change. As the country began to win the war against racism, so did the Tuskegee Airmen. Many of these early warriors would go on to high-ranking careers in the military, including the nation's first African-American 4-star general. It was a meeting with General Daniel Chappie James that inspired Colonel Charles Stallworth to pursue both his fighter wings and a law degree.
And I remember him saying about flying F-4s, because he was such a physically large man, that he had told a story about someone asking him how is it he got in the F-4, and he said that he put it on. Made me feel very proud of him.
He came to my school as a guest speaker, and I saw this gentleman. He's a very tall and impressive individual anyway, so that's when I first heard about Tuskegee Airmen, and immediately I said, when I grow up, I'm going to be just like him.
Not only did General Lloyd Newton grow up to be a 3-star general, he also made his own mark on history, becoming the first African-American to fly with the prestigious Thunderbirds.
Many folks from the press wanted to come up and talk to me. Said, well, how does it feel to be the first black pilot with the Thunderbirds? And, you know, you just kind of say, I don't know. It just feels good to be a part of the Thunderbirds. But the point that they were trying to get to is that this was another first in our country. And it was a good feeling. It was a good feeling not only being a part of the team, but the fact that I could then have the opportunity to express that to so many others who would have desired to be a part of this team. In other words, be that role model again for young kids.
Joe Newton is my mentor, one of my mentors, and the reason that he is he's the first black Thunderbird. As a matter of fact, he's the first black fighter pilot I ever met. So, and I always wanted to be a fighter pilot, so I obviously latched on to him as, okay, I want to do what he did. I want to be like him.
Although Captain Anthony LeSueur is milestones away from his mentor, as a flight instructor, he already feels the responsibility that goes hand in hand with leadership.
I feel responsible for carrying on the legacy. I had those gentlemen to look up to. Who do the kids in high school now, in college now, who do they have to look up to? Because you can only stay in the Air Force for so long, and then you end up eventually retiring. Who's going to be left? It's going to have to be me.
There were 992 Tuskegee Airmen who flew in over 1,500 missions during World War II.
Sadly enough, the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen and the trailblazers who have followed has only recently received its just recognition in the history books. But these pioneers know that the true honors come from those whose lives they touch and inspire.
About once every year, some individual walk up to you and state that if it had not been for you, I flew B-24s or B-17s in Italy, if it had not been for you, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you today.
I want to be remembered as someone who helped somebody else along the way, because that was so important to my success and where I am now. There was always someone there to reach back and give me a hand.